Hey there, folks. I'm Matt Hansen,
And I'm John Johnson.
and you're listening to
Planes, Trains, and Comic Books.
the podcast where we discuss favorites we've reread, both classic and new comics we want to read, and everything else in between.
And here's the comic we picked this week.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Planes, Trains, and Comic Books. Today, we are celebrating, I don't know, a Hallmark holiday.
The Hallmarkist of Hallmarky holidays. We're doing it. We haven't done one in a while, and I convinced old Heart of Stone Matt Hansen to do a. I'm kidding. To do a Valentine's Day episode. And that's only because, honestly, because I found this specific comic, and we really enjoyed a previous one we did before by the same writer and artist. So we're like, oh, okay, yeah, this should be fun. And it was. Spoilers.
I enjoyed it, and in anything by Darwin Cook and J Bone, I'm down for, and separately or together. They're both fantastic artists. J Bone did a recent comic for Batman that was like very Batman animated that I thought was sick. But it was, I want to say recent, I mean within like the last 5 years, but it was really fun. So but yeah, they tend to write really good, just good stories, and they can do one issues well. So I like this team up.
Yeah, and it's fun to get that because there's so many stories. Like, I mean, I know it's a one-off, but still, it's nice to get a whole complete story in a single issue, as opposed to arcs all the time. So
that's one of the things I miss the most from older comics is you just don't get one shots and stuff anymore, because everybody's it's for trade, it's for collecting trade now. So it's got to be 6 issues or 4 issues of a story and no one shots. So I don't know. I like the one shot. So that's why I was like, when you were like, hey, let's do this one shot by Darwin Cook, I'm like, yeah, sure. I don't care what it's about. If it's Valentine's Day, sounds good to me. So, but yeah, this is from Spider-Man's Tangled Web. It's called Open All Night. It's number 11. For those of you who might want to pick it up, which, I'm not a big Spider-Man fan, but if I was going to collect a Spider-Man series, this would be on the list of Spider-Man series I'd want to collect. So, yeah, that's a big thing for me to say there, John.
everyone we read on here, I really enjoyed all of this Tangle Web. It's kind of like what was the Batman series that you enjoy?
I don't know.
The one where it's like they're not canon stories, but
Legends of the Dark Knight.
Yeah, Legends of the Dark Knight. It's like that, but for Spider-Man, it didn't run as long because I think this only ran for like 20, 30 issues. But yeah, everyone that I've read has been fun, and then we've done 2 now on the podcast as well. Yeah, they're just fun little kind of like what if this happened in a Spider-Man story, and yeah,
it's this holiday.
Yeah, and yeah, a couple have been holidays now. So
yeah. All right, so getting into it, obviously this is Valentine's Day. It starts off with a page that's like, isn't love grand, except for everybody who's named not Peter Parker.
That's the truth.
Yeah, basically he is screwed because, he's Spider-Man. He can't have love. I'm assuming in this, this is before him and, Mary Jane or Felicia Harding are going out or anything, right? So
yeah, it's got to be either one of them. One of them is on a break, or that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, because we find out later Parker's got some ladies on the side. Technically, I don't know. We'll talk about it when we get there. But yeah, so we start off with Spider-Man fighting the Vulture. The Vulture has stolen something, right?
Yeah, there was a jewelry heist at a big jewelry place.
A jewelry place.
A jeweler.
Correct. Yes. And so we see the Spider-Man trying to thwart this robbery, and he fails, surprisingly. The Vulture hits him in midair, and then Spider-Man falls down and gets knocked on the head on the side of a building, and then falls into a pile of trash. And the funny thing is, the Daily Bugle is everybody's watching this, and we see J. Jonah Jameson being like, "Yes, finally someone gets that stupid Spider-Man. And then like he's like, where's Parker when you need him? I need a photo of this. And then he gets like this new kid who I don't remember his name.
Spencer. Yeah, Spencer.
Spencer. Okay, so he's like, hey, Spencer, you know how to use that camera, right? Take some pictures. And Spencer's like, yes, sirree, of course I do. And then it turns out like later he has no idea how to work a camera. He can't even put film in or anything, so he doesn't get any photos. But yeah, so Spider-Man, like I said, gets knocked out. He falls down. Nowhere to be seen. And then, oh man, okay. The next page that we see is Captain America, Iron Man, pictures of them at this, at a reporter's desk. And it's talking, these are like previous articles that this writer has wrote. What is this writer's name?
This is Jill.
Jill. Okay, so Jill has written some stories about the superheroes. And just seeing Darwin Cook draw Captain America and Iron Man, I'm like, God damn it. Why did he have to die before he could do, the New Frontier, but for Marvel?
Oh, man, yeah.
That would have been so cool. I mean, it looks great. It looks fantastic. Love the art on this. But Jill is a go-getter. She's, I guess, her desk is very sloppy and stuff, but it looks like she gets a lot of work done, So, and she's like yelling copy, but they're like, hey, we email that now. And she's like, I know, but I like to yell it. So, but she's super excited because she has a hot date tonight. We don't know with who. And then we get introduced to the other lady in the office, who is
Kay.
Okay. So I forgot their names completely in this. so they're not normal Spider-Man characters. So.
Exactly. They're not the normal girls that you know for Spider-Man. So
yeah. So Kay is you can tell by the way her desk looks. It's very clean, very tidy, completely different kind of person. Pictures of mom and dad on the desk, listen to the radio, all that kind of stuff. So she also has a hot date tonight. Or she doesn't say hot date. She just says date. So she's all dressed up, and Jill is all dressed up. And then who's this kid that's going out for coffee?
That's Spencer again. So Spencer's like gonna go out and grab because I guess JJ wants coffee. That's
right. He goes to the coffee bean. He passes by Spider-Man. I thought maybe he saw him because he stops for a second, like in front of the alley, or maybe he's just walking and he doesn't notice. But yeah, he does not see Spider-Man in this alley. And then he's passing by stores that say like, get your candy before before you go see your girl tonight in Flowers. So it's pushing on him that, he doesn't have anybody, he's kind of lonely or whatever. So he goes to this coffee place and there's this dickhead behind the bar. What's his name?
His name is Angus.
Angus, that's right. So this jerk behind the bar named Angus starts kind of razzing him, but he's getting hit on by the other person behind the bar who's a woman named Jenny. And I mean, she's making eyes at him. He's not picking it up because he's a normal guy who doesn't know how to read signals. But Angus doesn't like that she's hitting on him. So he finds the cup that's supposed to be J. Jonah Jameson's coffee, and he just happens to have some X-Lax with him. I assume because he needed it. I mean, I don't know how else to take that.
I mean, unless he pranks people all the time, it was pretty. He did say, "Tell JJ it's the Angus special." So I don't know if that is. Does he do this to people often, or yeah, like you said, does he just have a problem?
Yeah, and then so then he leaves. What's his name? The kid? God damn it.
Spencer.
Spencer, thank you. Spencer leaves with the coffee. As he's walking back, he passes the same alley. A dog runs out. He looks at the dog, not Spider-Man. So he totally misses Spider-Man again. Spencer gets back, gives the coffee to everybody in the office as they need it. And now we see a confrontation between Jill and Kay in the women's restroom. They're just... like Kay's putting on lipstick, and then out of nowhere, Jill kicks a door out from, I guess, one of the stalls. And then, And then like she like throws all her makeup everywhere, but she interrupts Kay putting on lipstick and like ruins her lipstick. So I don't know. What do you think about this scene with the girls? It's like obviously trying to really showcase how how different they are.
How different, exactly? Yeah, like they're both getting ready for their date, but Jill's kind of a quote unquote, what do they call the hot mess? And she actually, like you said, she literally throws everything out of her purse on top of the counter, and then Jill's very like organized and like she's got her like coat folded.
No, Kay's really organized.
Or Kay, pardon me. Yeah, Kay's really organized, and she's got her like coat folded on the counter while she's like has just her lipstick out putting it on. So yeah, it's very, very much like just trying to show like two opposite ends of the
lady spectrum.
Yeah.
And I will say like it really pisses off Kay that her lipstick got fucked up. Like she doesn't even clean it or anything. Maybe because she can't stand Jill enough to stay in there. But then we see, I liked this joke a lot. Now we know, the audience, the reader knows that J. Jonah Jameson's coffee is filled with X-Lax, and he keeps like almost grabbing it, but then he's on the phone with someone and he's yelling about stuff. But then it's like his wife is on the phone. So, it was just kind of like that moment, in movies where they're like, oh, we all know it's a thing, but he's not going to do it. Oh, he's not going to do it. Like it kept teasing us. So I thought that was fun. And then Spencer, he's just chilling. And, we see him drinking his coffee, and he sees Jill come out of the restroom, and she's in her date outfit, which is kind of like Power Girl. There's a boob window. Her abs are exposed as well, but it's like a really tight black dress. So she's what they call a man eater, John, I believe. That's what that is. But of course I think he's got a kind of crush on these two ladies as well. But he has no lady skills. So Spence, he saw Kay leave, said she was pretty, sees Jill, he's speechless. He literally drops his coffee when he sings her, and all the men in the building are like, dang, like in their heads. They're just as Jill walks away, they're very like, they're taking notice, but politely, I guess, because they're thinking in their head and not saying it out loud.
But all eyes are on her for sure.
All eyes are on her, even if they're just like glancing, and hopefully she doesn't notice everybody doing that. But yeah. And then we see the two girls are going to end up at the same place. We see Kay end up at the Coffee Bean, which is where Spencer got the coffee earlier. And she's like, oh, I'm waiting here for my dates. And some guy even tries to hit on her, and she's like, nope, I already have a date. I'm waiting for him. And then we see Jill come in, and she's like, I also have a date, but she's flirting with the other guys. And then it turns out both of them have a date with Peter Parker.
What?
Yeah. As you mentioned, one of the guys that's hitting on her, the main guy, is it Flash? It's Flash.
Yeah,
right?
It's Flash Thompson.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Peter Parker made a date with these two different ladies, and yeah.
I'll admit right away, like this, I was like, okay, what happened here? Because I've never known, Peter's never been like the ladies' man to like do something like that. So I was definitely like,
what are you talking about? I saw Spider-Man 3. We do that dance and everything.
Yeah, with that sweet dance, and yeah, he wearing all black.
It's very cool. Very cool dance, John.
He likes jazz.
He had that Russian girl make him a cake or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I knew something was up too. I'm like, how? There's no way that like he actually did this and did it. I could see him making a date with two different women on the same day. But because he's so like scatterbrained sometimes, but I don't know. Just like you said, he's not a ladies' man in this. At least he's a nerd. So it was kind of weird that they both were like thinking they were going to go out with him. But so then we cut back to the office, and we see Jonah constantly teasing us with drinking that coffee or not. And then his wife comes in because it's Valentine's Day, and she came to the office to surprise him, and she sees the coffee and she drinks it because, why wouldn't you? Then we cut to the alley where Spider-Man is knocked out and he starts to come to. And as he's getting up, he like falls down, and it looks like, oh, he's like, I feel like I'm forgetting something, like I'm supposed to be somewhere, but then he passes out and we see his like glove roll down and there's like an 8 o'clock and a heart written on his arm. So then we cut to the coffee bean where the two girls are very angry, arguing about how obviously Peter Parker asked them out, and either one, and they're saying like the other girl's crazy, and we see what happened. So Kay went up to Peter Parker, asked him if he would like to meet or like write a paper or something, right?
Yeah, you want to like I think check out an exhibit.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, check out some exhibit. Like she asked him out on a date, and he's thinking about like Dr. Octopus and his grandma or his mom, Aunt May or whatever. And he's just like, great. And so she's like, great. The coffee bean at 8 o'clock. Let's do it. And he's like, sounds good. But then he's thinking about bills and Dr. Octopus, and it's like, yeah, okay. So he said yes, but not thinking about it. And then same thing almost happened with him and Jill, except Jill, it looks like she cornered him, and she's like, she's doing like the you can't leave this room until you say yes kind of move, putting her arms around him against the wall and stuff.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, and then she's like, you're gonna go with me. I got tickets, to this show. And we'll meet at the coffee bean first. And then she wrote on his arm in red ink with the heart, the 8 o'clock. So, and he was just like, duh, like, and he didn't even say yes to her. So, yeah. And then I thought this was funny. We get like these ladies are smitten with Parker. I don't know why. He's an idiot in this, but like Kay is thinking about like how great of a scientist Peter is, and he needs a woman who's like a scholar and can help him with his keeping things organized and stuff. And she wants to be a surgeon too, right? Or no, she said he can be a surgeon, and she could be like a painter or something. And so, but she has this little vision of her and him like go old, and they're married, and they're at like this like modern 60s looking house that says the Parkers on the mailbox. I just thought that was funny. Great design. I don't know, for like a dream sequence. Did you like that?
Yeah, I love that. This is actually, I was gonna say, this is, besides the like splash page of like the fighting, this was my favorite pages in the comic, because like you said, it's, again, they're really showing the difference between the two and the vision of like what they imagine like their life going to be with their infatuation with Peter Parker. Yeah, Jill's is very, Kay's is very like, like homely, and like we're gonna have a like life together, and everything's gonna be swell, and we're gonna like very much like the we'll have dinner every night,
a picket fence and a dog.
Picket fence, exactly. And then Jill's is completely different art too. The style of it is very
it's got the dot matrix. It's very like 60s comic looking.
Thank you. The dot matrix, that's specifically I was looking for. Yeah, it's very cool, and I love their like, she's already been showing like she's like always at her desk and always like writing things and trying to be a reporter. So it's like them in the field together. She's like getting info, and he's taking pictures, and like there's Spiderman and Dr. Octopus, and like you can see the octopus arms like reaching in the panel. It's very cool. I love the yin and yang of it.
Yeah, I thought it was really fun. And then, but while they're arguing, Flash Thompson interrupts them and is like, hey, I don't know if you noticed the time, ladies, but it's almost 9. I think you got stood up. And so the ladies are very angry about that. And then we come back to the Daily Bugle, and J. Jonah Jameson is looking for his wife. He can't find her. It turns out she's in the bathroom. And then J. Jonah Jameson looks at the coffee mug, and he's like, something's weird about this. And then he asks Spence, as Spence is about to leave, like, hey, what was up with the coffee? And then Spence goes, oh, that kid Angus said, he gave you the Angus special. And so Jay's like, okay, now I know who tried to poison me and poison my wife. So of course he's mad. And then we come back to the diner or the coffee bean, and the girls are now like teaming up. They're like, Peter's a jerk. We need to forget that fool and give him a piece of our mind. And so they're like, yeah, let's do it. Then we cut back to Spence, who's leaving the building, the Daily Bugle, and he reaches in his coat pocket and he finds a Valentine. And I guess he didn't reach in all day, or he took his coat off when he got to work and he didn't notice. And so he reads it. Then we see him running across the street. He runs past Flash, who is like, ladies, I know where Parker lives. Why don't I drop you off? So he's like hitting on both of them, and they're like, well, thank you, Flash. And so it looks like Flash is going to have a good Valentine's Day. And then Spencer runs in. He sees Angus, and then he turns and he sees the lady who I don't remember her name.
Jenny.
Jenny, there you go. He sees Jenny, who's the lady behind the counter, who was hitting on him earlier, and I guess she's the one who put the letter in his pocket, the Valentine's card, and he's like, yeah, I did. I got it. It's cool. And she's like, yeah, it's cool. So then they get to go on a little date. And then as they're leaving, Angus is very mad that they're going on a date. And then as they leave, we see J. Jonah Jameson go into the coffee shop with the half-drunk coffee cup that he had from Angus. And he confronts Angus about it and says, oh, thanks for making this like great cup of coffee. The funny thing is my wife drank it and she was telling me how delicious it was, but then she went ill. You wouldn't know what happened to that, would you? And he's like, no. He's like, well, then you wouldn't mind drinking the rest of it, would you? I wouldn't want it to go to waste. And so he makes Angus drink it, assuming, we could assume that. And then we cut to Spider-Man in the alley. He's still knocked out until a homeless guy wakes him up. And then Peter's like, the guy thinks he's like a costume. What would that be? Like a performer?
Yeah.
Like a guy dressing up as Spider-Man on the street. And so he's like, hey, you should wear something warmer than that Spider-Man suit. It's pretty thin material. And Spider-Man's like, do you have anything to wear? And then the guy's like, sure, I'll trade you for that costume. And so he switches clothes with the homeless guy. And so like we see Parker walking down the street with like, the patchy coat and clothes. They have like square patches all over, wherever there were holes and stuff.
Yeah, and I love the fingerless gloves.
Yeah, fingerless gloves. Brown scarf, lots of browns and greens and stuff for them. But he's just trying to get home now. He's so tired. He doesn't remember that he made dates with these girls. And of course, as he walks into his house, the two ladies, Jill and Kay, begin to assault him with words. They call him a weasel. They're like, you stood us up. You feel like a big man, all this stuff. And then he just passes out. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh my goodness, Peter, can you hear us? And then they like give him air. And then he wakes up and he says, I'm in heaven. And then they both hug him. So we could assume maybe Parker got some... We'll say he got a menage a trois that night. He had a menage a trois that night.
He had some love and care.
Yeah, that's a good one to pull. Like, I feel I need someone to care for me. I'm not sure if I should be alone tonight.
You think that was his plan all along?
All along. No, I don't think so. But yeah, so that's the end of it. It ends with Parker having actually, no, there's one more page. I'm sorry. That's how that story ends with Parker. But then we get like we cut back to the Vulture, who we're like, whoa, he must have stolen the diamonds for some nefarious reason. But then we see him going to a house and he's knocking on the door and he's dressed all fancy. He's got flowers. It turns out he got a ring, or he got a diamond ring is what he stole. And he proposes to a lady friend of his. So, and she says yes. And then she says, make love. Let's make love. To Toombs. So Vulture definitely got some that night.
Yep. That's what I loved. I love the end of like, oh, cool. Even the bad guy gotta have happy Valentine's Day.
Hey, Valentine's Day doesn't have judgment.
That's right. Everybody deserves love.
Everybody can buy a card.
That's what we can take from this.
That's what Hallmark says.
Yeah, you can if you buy a ring from Tiffany's, a card from Hallmark, or some chocolate laxatives
There you go.
from Lamb's Can. I couldn't think of another company. You'll have a happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah, so that's the end of it. John, what would you give this one? What'd you think?
I loved it. You know, it's just a fun, short, sweet little story. And everybody, even the villain had a little wrapped up story with a bow on it, and it's fun. And, you know, I like I was like, there's no way Peter's a player, so I like that they threw that away. Is like he was just so preoccupied with villains.
I mean, he's not, but then at the end,
well, again, so maybe he's inadvertently, you know, gets that because of his
spider sense was tingling.
Yeah. Something was tingling.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, he didn't know what was going on. You know, he was preoccupied with villains and bills and Aunt May and you know, his life. That woe is Peter. You know, he's always got crazy stuff going on. So yeah, that was fun. It was nice to see I really love seeing the differences of the two ladies and like especially their like vision of the future or whatever with Parker. So that was really cute. And then even the little like side story with JJ, like, you know, he's ignoring his wife, then his wife gets there and this, you know, the whole thing back and forth, like, oh, is he gonna drink the coffee? No, his wife drinks the coffee. And I don't know if there was one panel, like he's been at the office pretty much like ignoring her, right, all day, like getting call, like, I'll call you back, yeah, we're still on for tonight or whatever, right? And then she gets there and he's still working, right? And she's like, oh, I thought I'd surprise you, like, so we can go after this. And he's like, yeah. And then she does the coffee and then she has, you know, she goes to the bathroom or whatever, and it you know, runs through her. And he, like, after she's like, oh, like I'm sick, and closes the door, there was one panel where he, like, it had like a $500 bill with wings floating away. Like he was like, oh, there goes whatever.
Yeah, whatever we were going to do tonight, I wasted the money now.
Exactly. It's like, in just those little couple panels of like, somebody get the camera on Spider-Man losing, and then like, my wife, and then like, you know, then hey boy, you're going to drink this coffee that's totally not, didn't have some kind of poison or drug in it. Like all those little like pieces with JJ were all like really good, like notches. So it ticked all the marks for me. Darwin Cook, J-Bone, fantastic art, cute story. It's a solid 9 for me.
Okay. That's higher than I thought you were going to give it. Cool. I thought this was fun. I definitely think it's one of those ones that's like, okay, Spider-Man is in it a tiny bit, right? Because he's knocked out the whole time. So you really have to like the side characters. I liked Spence a lot, so I thought that was fun. But I would have liked to see something else with Spider-Man in this personally. But I'll give this one, like, as far as like artistry and fun issues and just kind of one-off little things, it's a 7. It's solid. It is like, I think the Christmas one was better because it had Parker in it more, you know?
You say that and I was like, oh man, you know, I think the Christmas one better. I'm going to go down to an 8. I lied. I am going to pull it down. Okay.
There you go.
Because the Christmas one was better. Because the Christmas one also had like the Fantastic Four and Medusa. I think there was like 1 or 2 other characters in it too. So
yeah, I mean, that one for me is like top notch. So this one was like, this was good. It was fun. It was a good little story. Not everyone. I like, you know, sometimes you're going to experiment and you're going to be like, what if it's a Spider-Man story without Spider-Man kind of thing. So, but yeah, I thought it was a solid 7. You're going to change your thing to an 8. So, yeah. And happy Valentine's Day, everybody. And
happy Valentine's Day.
You know, make sure you get your significant other something special and make them feel happy.
Because the man told you to.
Exactly.
I'm kidding. No, we do what you would like and be nice to your significant other and get them something like that.
Yeah, put that on a card, John. You're a wordsmith. All right. Well, with that, we'll see you guys on the next one.
On the next one.
Bye.